You're listening to the Valley's positive, encouraging KLOVE, 103.5 WHVK, New Hope, Huntsville.
Positive, encouraging, KLOVE.
The following program is a KLOVE Public Affairs presentation. Views and opinions expressed on this program aren't necessarily that of the host, staff, or management. Content may not be suitable for young children. KLOVE is committed to community. Closer Look continues with a look at local agencies, events, and issues. Here's Frank Hammond.
Our guest this evening on Closer Look is Angela Hawke. She's the Executive Director with the Care Center in New Hope. Welcome to Closer Look, Angela.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're glad to have you. Angela, let's talk about your background to get started this evening. Now, you have been with the Care Center for a few years, but prior to that, you were introduced by a friend who just encouraged you to become a volunteer.
Yes, I started as a tutor, and I was tutoring reading to first graders in a group of about 4. And that was so much fun for me. And I kept thinking, I can't wait for next week. And I would just go back every week excited to meet with those youngsters and see how they were doing. And wouldn't you know it, they started doing so well in school that I got a new set. And so that sort of was, on my selfish part, made me feel like I just wanted to build that relationship stronger. And so after tutoring, I went into mentoring. And I actually still do both. But I have been mentoring a young lady who's now in high school, and we met when she was in 4th grade. And as a mother of 3 boys, that's a lot of fun for me.
Now, the mentoring program is called Sisters of Faith?
Yes.
And what is Sisters of Faith?
Sisters of Faith is a mentoring program starting in 2nd grade at New Hope Elementary School and goes through 6th grade. And so that is where children that are considered at risk for not graduating are paired up with a female mentor, and they meet on a monthly basis as a group, and they do special activities and events and field trips and crafts and just all sorts of cool stuff. They also try to do a devotional and just try to speak love into each child and encourage them just to be who God made them to be.
You know, there's a number of facets to the Care Center, and the more I learn, the more it's exciting to find out what all is available here in the community. Angela, you have a passion to serve here in the community and work with various nonprofit organizations. I understand that you meet with some of the ladies here to dig deeper into the Bible, and then you also, of course, are part of the Sisters of Faith for the mentoring program. And what are some other areas that currently, prior to becoming the executive director, that you worked with?
After meeting my little sister from Sisters of Faith, she had asked me, could we volunteer in the food pantry? And I said, of course. I was so excited that she wanted to give back to her community. And so we did. We set up a day, and we met at the food pantry, and we served for 3 hours together, and it was an amazing experience. And from there, I was just hooked. I was already in love with the Care Center, but I was just even more hooked than I ever was before, and I kept coming back. And unfortunately, together, we didn't continue to serve just because our schedules weren't connecting very well, but at any rate, we still see each other on occasion, and she has graduated from Sisters of Faith, but we still have a great relationship, and I love that I have a relationship with her mom as well.
Angela, you have a bachelor's degree in healthcare administration. You've worked for private practice as well as in the hospital setting. You've worked for Doctors on Call, and then you have a creative side, of course. So back in 2010, you applied and were hired as the executive director then?
Yes, it was in 2010 that I took the executive director position, and I just really feel like God has put me here for a reason. I'm working outside of my comfort zone, but serving people is just where my heart is.
Angela Hawke, the Executive Director for the Care Center in New Hope, is our guest this evening on KLOVE's Closer Look on 103.5. Angela, CARE is an acronym. What does it stand for?
Community Assistance Resource Effort. And I'm so glad that you asked, because often people think of care as in hospital or clinic settings, and while we touch in every social service, we're trying to connect our neighbors to resources that may not be available locally.
And Angela, what's the mission of the Care Center, and how did it actually get started?
The Care Center seeks to impact southeastern Madison County by reducing poverty through education initiatives, employment resources, recovery programs, and emergency services. It was founded back in 2000 where 4 churches came together and they knew that they had to put their denominations aside so that they could meet the needs of our neighbors locally. So we had 4 churches in the beginning, and we have grown to 14 churches, which is a huge blessing.
Now, in Madison County, what zip codes and areas do you serve?
We serve Brownsboro, Gurley, New Hope, and Owens Crossroads. However, we are located right on Main Drive in New Hope.
And if somebody hasn't been there before, what are your hours during the week?
Our hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. We do have a Saturday just for the food pantry. Every Saturday we're open from 9 to 1.
And what else would I find at the Care Center if I've never been there?
Well, we do have a thrift store, and that is a really important part of what we do. The thrift store itself is a ministry, but it also provides jobs to local neighbors, and they have different hours than the main campus that I was just speaking of. But you will find the opportunity to not only purchase really nice items for low cost, but that we have a ministry there at the thrift store as well. And so we do Bible study together, and sometimes we're ministering to people who just need a second chance.
So as a nonprofit organization and founded by 4 different churches that had come together here locally, you're able to be free and have an opportunity to share with someone your faith and offer them additional help besides material possessions.
Absolutely. We believe that what we offer every day is hope and opportunity. We believe that we are meeting the needs of our neighbors who are in crisis, but we know that crisis is not where they should stay. So we have so many programs that are more developmental. And so getting them out of crisis is the short-term goal. And once we can move out of crisis into a longer-term plan, we do that based on what their needs are. And so we know it's not a one-size-fits-all, but we have free GED right here on campus. We have a launch program that we partner with. We partner with Huntsville Hospital Mobile Medical Unit. They come out once a month and provide health screenings. We have an after-school program and so much more. We give scholarships to students going to college, and the list goes on.
Now, I understand you have an amazing website with lots and lots of information. If somebody hasn't been there and wanted to find out more about some of the things that you've mentioned, where would they go?
Absolutely. That would be thecarecenter.us.
Thecarecenter.us.
Yes.
You're listening to Closer Look on Positive Encouraging KLOVE 103.5. Our guest this evening is Angela Hawke. She's Executive Director with the Care Center in New Hope. Angela, if somebody wanted to become involved as a volunteer, are there particular qualifications, or do you have to have a certain number of hours that you can serve? How does it work?
We love our volunteers, and we could not do what we do without them. We say that the volunteers are the heartbeat of the Care Center. So they can come based on availability. We ask them to give us a call or email us first so that we can expect them and plan for their arrival. Oftentimes we'll give them a tour first. It takes about an hour to see everything that we have going on. So as far as qualifications, we will take anybody. We even allow children to serve with their parents because we believe in training up a child by giving them that example. So if your child is 15 or under, they should come with their parents, but once they hit 16, we feel like if you're responsible enough to drive a car, you're responsible enough to come alone.
You know, I imagine you actually receive more than you give as far as your time and your effort and so forth. And that kind of ties in with a success story. I know you have a number of them. Would you share one or two with us?
I would love to. Recently, we had a Jobs for Life graduate, which is one of our ministries. It's a 16-week biblically based class that teaches our neighbors how to learn what it is that God has given them as their personal gifts and how to share that when they go on job interviews. And it's such an amazing 16 weeks from the beginning to the end. That first week, they can almost barely say who they are, and by the end, they're standing up in front of a group at graduation sharing more about themselves and what they know their gifts are. And so we had a GED student who not only graduated from GED, but also Jobs for Life, and she has gone on to college, and so she's still in her college career at this moment, working on becoming a nurse, and we're just cheering her on. It is just so fun to see how she's doing, and raising her kids at the same time. She's doing fantastic.
Angela Hawke, the Executive Director for the Care Center in New Hope, is our guest this evening on KLOVE's Closer Look on 103.5. You know, that's got to be so rewarding, and you're seeing such a difference. I was surprised to learn that the Care Center supports over 1,000 families per month financially.
Yes. When you visit the Care Center, you may not see that big of an impact because we are sort of a divide and conquer. We are kind of like the church has left the building sort of a feel. And so we have something going on all over southeastern Madison County. We might be in the schools. We serve 3 different Title I schools with tutoring and mentoring. And then we have our 2 food pantries. We have our kids' food pantry, which we call Bags of Blessings, and then we have our family food pantry. And so when you combine everything that we're doing, we're serving about 1,000 families every month. But again, we couldn't do it without our volunteers. They're so important to us.
Angela Hawke, the Executive Director for the Care Center in New Hope, is our guest this evening on KLOVE's Closer Look on 103.5. Angela, you touched on the schools, and I understand there's after-school clubs. How important are these to New Hope and the surrounding area here in Madison County?
Oh, my goodness. The New Hope Community Learning Center is a partnership between New Hope Elementary School and the Care Center. It is funded by a 21st Century grant, and these clubs are, in my opinion, critical to our community because there are a lot of children whose parents are working still when school gets out. So this allows parents to stay at work and children not to have to go home to that empty house. So we feed them one more time, and we give them the opportunity to attend a club that interests them, and we call that learning disguised as fun, and they do. They have a great time. And so these children are able to come regardless of their socioeconomic background, but we know that 57% of the students at New Hope are on the free breakfast and lunch program. So we do not turn a child away. We will accept them on scholarship.
So, Angela, about how many school clubs are there? How do I get signed up, and how do the kids actually get to the clubs?
We have several clubs every session. There's 9-week sessions, and so we have different clubs available Monday through Friday. And so kids can sign up right at school, and they will be able to choose from something Monday through Friday. So they can pick a variety of clubs, anything from martial arts to photography to clay sculpting. We have a Top Chef club, and they rotate throughout the year. So if you don't see clay sculpting this time, it will be coming back because that's one of our most popular.
That's amazing. It really is. So if you were a teacher and had a particular area you would like to volunteer, maybe to lead one of the school clubs, I'm sure there's an application process and background check and so forth. How does that work?
Well, Andrea Bridges is our education coordinator, and she arranges for all of the teachers who lead and all of our third-party folks who sometimes we have to hire, and we do have a major grant that supports this. So teachers just need to get with Andrea Bridges, and most of them already know her and are in contact with her.
And if they wanted to contact the Care Center, what's the phone number?
256-723-CARE. That's 256-723-2273.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Closer Look on KLOVE 103.5.